Hey, oh my goodness. Snuck up on me.
Later, guys. So I changed my name again to match the initials on my shirt and my picture.
Okay. Yeah.
JFC. James, fuck that crap person. Oh, I say we're in a mood today.
Yeah, we're in a mood today.
I just want to say hello to Logan Fisher, who just popped up in the side chat. And of course, our good friend, Captive Desk Dave.
Yep.
And thanks for joining us, James Apperson.
No, it's James.
I'm sorry.
Fuck that Crapperson.
I'm sorry. I know a guy named James whose name rhymes with yours. So I made that mistake. I'm sorry. James, fuck that Crapperson.
Fair. Thank you so much for having me here. And hello to Captive Dave Desk and Logan Fisher.
So the atheist community is still doing all kinds of stuff. Oh, Bree's here. Hi, Bree. On the debate, the Farina tour debate, and people picking on Dave Farina.
And Dave finally released something about it.
Oh, he did? When?
Mm-hmm. Today, as far as I know.
Well, that wasn't just a replay?
Was it?
I thought it was just a replay of the...
Processor Dave, probably.
I'd have to go back and look and see exactly what it was. I saw it come up in my feed, and I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out later.
I do want to get his, comments on it.
Because I did not want to... it is the debate. So I did not want to put in James Tour's link, so I'm going to go change my link. Dave Farina, let's see, ad hominem. I got a whole bunch of links out there. Let's see, debate dissection. Okay, there's the actual debate, so I'll change it to Professor Dave's video because I like him better. Because I'm biased. I'm biased as hell. Why is it an email? What is happening? What's happening right now?
Emails confuse us old people. We can't handle all that tech.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be an email. It's supposed to be a video URL. And I'm very confused right now. There we go.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, also, Grayson did do a kind of a comment or a reply to the James Tour debate just this morning, and it was really good. He was able to get up and ask a question on camera in the Q&A section of the event, and it was a really good question, and he kind of breaks down why James Tour just really did not answer him. He and was irrational and everything.
Nice.
So it was a really everybody needs to just run over after this live stream, of course, to Based Theories channel and just get Grayson's comments about the event, because
or you could hear it.
Liking the feedback I'm hearing about it, whether it's negative or positive. It's good to get.
You could hear it here.
By the way, Jungle Jargon made an interesting comment down in Grayson's comments on that particular stream.
Hill Hugger, where's Jungle? Was that a top comment? No, I don't see it.
It's there. It's there in comments.
Yeah, but is it in response to somebody else?
I don't think so, but it might be. I don't know.
Jungle Jargon.
It doesn't mean anything, but it was below mine whenever I...
The famous Ian Chen is on there. I don't see Jungle Jargon.
Well, that's weird.
Oh, no. My headphones ain't working.
Well, I'll see what the deal is on that. Maybe it was a different one.
Okay.
The comment that I was looking at. But yeah, he basically said, if you think life can come from 20 amino acids, which of course being I don't know, what do you think of Jungle Dragon's ability to reason through things?
Can you guys still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I guess that worked. Let's see if my headphones.
Okay, yeah, I don't see where it is either. I could have swore it was this. Yeah, the Big Bad Mama did a. Well, here, let me go look under one and see if Grayson replied to one. He might have replied to a reply that Grayson did. But no, I don't see it.
No.
I don't know. That's weird.
Huh.
It was on my phone that I saw it.
Yeah,
I'll figure out where it came from.
Okay, I'll play this part.
Let's see what his response is. Dr. Tour, it seems like most of your critiques rest on so far unjustified assumptions, so I would like to give you the opportunity here to justify at least one of those assumptions. The very first one, your very first question to Dave, it seems like you admit that you can form peptide bonds for some of the amino acids in aqueous solutions without protecting groups. You point out specifically lysine and arginine, and I would like to ask, why are you assuming that lysine and arginine...
Slight correction, it was lysine and glutamic acid that he pointed out.
And all 20 amino acids were there from the very first, the origin of life. Yeah, could you just justify that assumption for us? Why couldn't you have life from like just some of the amino acids that later on...
30 seconds.
Okay.
So my contest on the amino acid claims was he kept saying amino acids are simple to make in water. That's what he said in his series. But then, when challenged on that, he came out later and he said, when activated. When you activate them, they go from being zwitterionic to being non-zwitterionic. This is what I was getting at. So somebody coached him on this. Tour must be right on activation. Now, to your next question.
Okay, let's just stop there and get this out of the way really quick. A zwitterion is just a molecule that has multiple positive and negative charges within the same molecule, right? He's saying that the big issue with these amino acids like lysine and aspartic acid is that there are multiple highly reactive parts of these molecules, highly reactive charged parts of these molecules. And he's saying that in order to get the peptide bond forming, when you have these highly reactive side chains, you need to activate them to make them non-zwitterionic. You need to get rid of all those excess highly reactive charges, and you need to focus on just having the chemistry that you want to get the peptide bond to form. That's what he means by activation, making them non-zwitterionic, as in, you are getting the charge away from those highly reactive side chains so they're not so highly reactive anymore, and that you can form the peptide bond properly. That's all he's talking about right there. So if you'll notice, had absolutely nothing to do with the question that I asked him, and it doesn't help him answer that question at all. Let's go on. Now,
to your next question. Could there have been life with half of the amino acids? We have no idea. Even if I gave you half of the amino acid, now what?
So what? James, the so what is that if you have only the amino acids that are lacking those highly reactive side chains that are known to undergo polypeptide bond formation in aqueous prebiotic solutions, like we've already demonstrated, they're going to form amyloids. Amyloids are catalytic and are capable of self-replication. So if you've got self-replicating amyloids that are capable of catalyzing other reactions, such as the formation of the other 20 amino acids, then you have all the steps necessary in order for natural selection to kick in. And the origin of life, James, that's the so what.
Now what? Now what? Let me tell you, because if you have 100 amino acids, the chances of getting anything with prescribed information is say you have half of them, is 10 to the 100th. Yes, it is. Now, now.
My God. He's going to that argument, that tired argument that all the proteins had to like form randomly. That there had to be some random formation.
Chances of that folding, a 100 mer. The chances of it folding are what? 10 to the 90. All right.
Okay.
So
I like how Grayson's not afraid to shout back.
Yeah.
Paradox. So one form. But Leventhal paradox. No way. The vast majority do not fold.
Time is up.
They
for
don't
that
fold.
question.
That's pretty good. But anyway, none of that matters anyway. For a number of reasons. Want to get into them?
I mean, I'm unqualified to get into them, but if you guys want to, I'll sit here and watch.
Yeah, I don't know. There's for one thing, there's this. Now, the idea behind the information developing in a cell involves both RNA and proteins together, right? Not just proteins randomly forming and forming chains. Even though they've shown that some small proteins can form, and they do form in rather well-formed chains, what Tor is saying is the ones like glutamic acid and lysine, where there's another amino group on lysine, and it will attach in the wrong way. So it'll form a more complex thing than what a protein is in life. Like life has these long, single file proteins, right? One amino acid after another. Well, when you have like a chemical soup, you could end up with much more complex peptides forming with these side chains, right? Nobody has shown those also would have to be reactive in some manner, and they could be catalytic. Now, there's no reason to think that those small branched peptides didn't have something to do with the early formation of life. And that's one thing that everybody seemed to have missed there. So who cares that we have this complex mass of very, very complex peptides, for small peptides forming, right? But even more than that, there's, let's go see if I can go to this. That isn't quite how we think it happened. The things we're working on are things like this. Okay, this is a small RNA, basically, okay, which for some reason, is not showing on my screen. Let's see if I can make it bigger. And this small RNA, now, can you see my mouse? Can you see my mouse?
I see your mouse.
I see my mouse. So up here at the top, basically, an amino acid will attach to this and it attaches according to a certain code. It's called the second, basically genetic code, and it's not related to the first. Like I mistakenly, see, that was that time I was wrong, Scott. It isn't the same code as we have attaching to the RNA. But anyway, so peptides will form at these chains on the end here, okay? And so you got amino acids will attach to those. Single amino acids or small peptides will attach. And then this part down here, this big loop, okay, has like a coding section where it will attach to another RNA, which carries the information for the protein being formed. And that's how tRNA works, and that's how RNA works in current cells, even though the ribosome is far more complicated after 4 billion years, right? Well, when two of these things line up and two of them attach to that RNA, so we have this one attaching to one part of the strand and another one attaching to another part of the strand, and they both have amino acids, those two amino acids can link up and become detached and form a dipeptide, and then a tripeptide, and then a 4 peptide or 4 amino acid peptide, and on and on. And that's how they think the information originally happened. But now we had a massive complex array of different small chemicals happening in those early formations, right? In this very, very early cells. And nobody knows exactly what happened. And we certainly do not know and could not say that it could not have happened because of the amount of complexity involved. And so Tur is just all wet here. And he's going on and saying, oh, well, how did 100 of them form in exactly the right sequence? So we end up with a current modern protein that does some enzymatic function. That's not the fucking issue. So shut up, you cockroach. He's a cockroach, I tell you. Anyway.
I messed up the screen.
There we go. Okay, the screen's better. When did I mess it up? Or did it just mess up all by itself?
No, I messed it up because I did I thought I was doing a shift at, but I did something else and it messed up the screen.
Yeah.
My apologies, internet.
Yeah. And these small RNAs form rather spontaneously, and we've shown a number of ways for those to form and for those small peptides to form. And we had like thousands or millions of different molecules bumping around. And what we are hypothesizing is that eventually something came out of that complexity that started self-replicating in a certain way, that it had feedback that made more of the same and more of the same. And that kept the thing going. And James Tur is exactly right. We know just the tiniest little bit about this whole story, right? But every paper shows you a new piece of that story. And what he's claiming is that we should stop doing this entirely and just throw up our hands and say, oh, it couldn't happen. Oh, I'll give you this. And how could a cell have formed and all this bullshit? And all he's doing is preaching. And that's why he can't get a paper published in a real journal on this subject. And he has never done that. He had 700 papers on nanotechnology, and he has no papers on abiogenesis at all. Zero. He couldn't get published with this kind of garbage that he's putting out.
No.
Anyway.
So his academic background isn't in biology then? It's in nanotechnology?
Chemistry. Yeah, nanotechnology. He deals with carbon nanotubes and how to make all these small, like they made a small car that actually drove around on a graphite surface or something. And he made a great deal of money starting one startup after another, which got, all of these startups get tremendous funding. And of course, he got quite a bit of money out of all that and from patents. And he's and then he retired and started shooting his mouth off about religion.
Anyway. I mean, the whole thing is just God of the gaps. It's just we don't know. Therefore, God magic. And let's stop looking. Let's stop finding out. And no credible scientist is going to hear that and say, oh, well, someone thinks we should stop doing science? That sounds like a scientific position. I mean, come on.
Right.
Well, he's, and once again, he's just engaging for the Discovery Institute or somebody in disinformation. He's trying to get people, to get this environment of discouragement and say, oh, we don't need to invest any money in such research because we don't know anything and we can't know anything. We haven't learned anything in 70 years of research. Right. And that's what disinformation is meant to do, is to, on an irrational basis, get people to disinvest themselves in spending money on it.
Just look for a minute at that face. Look at that face and ask yourself, would you want to be that face?
No. No, I don't want to be that
Well,
face.
when I was watching his behavior during the debate, the phrase raging hemorrhoid personified kept coming through my mind.
Hemorrhoid, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you've ever suffered from such an
Regular
infliction, you know what I'm talking about.
Right. Yep. Ooh. So I linked James Apperson or Crap Person did a independent pre-show for Nonset Informant's Empty Tomb debate. Oh no, you didn't want. I didn't link that one because you gave that to me. Did you ever make that public? That was a good half hour, James. That thing you did that you did not want to make public. Are you James?
James.
Sorry, I was AFK. I was listening though. So, it seems like
I so worried because I thought, oh no, he's pissed. He's pissed.
No, I don't.
James.
I sit here for 10 minutes waiting for the chance to contribute, and I can't because I don't know shit. So the moment I get up, walk away from the computer, like, hey, James, I want to ask you something. I'm like, fuck me.
We know when you walk away.
Yeah. Here you go.
We can tell.
The pre-show didn't go the way I wanted it to, and that was my fault. I mean, it just wasn't worth anybody looking at. It just wasn't. And I was a little bit disappointed, and I'm like, you know what? So what? It was 15 minutes or something. Who cares? So I just buried it.
Yeah. Well, it went a different way, and I think the way it went was rather entertaining. So
sure, but it's not what I wanted it to be. So I just put it to unlisted or some crap.
Yeah,
and then I did
directorial prerogative.
And then I did a different stream yesterday where I read my blog, my latest blog, and talked about God. And Leo joined us, and Stephanie Helms joined us, and Mike was there, and we had a lot of the gang up in chat as well. And I was happy with how that stream went, even though it was over 2 hours. But this morning I woke up and said, you know what? I'm not happy enough with the blog. So I went back and started working on it some more. And it's a whole other beast now. And now I kind of wish I'd waited till today to do that stream because the blog is better than it was. But oh well, it is what it is.
The stream might have been what helped you work things over.
It did. It did
to
help
improve the blog.
It's true. It did. I'll admit that.
I'm going to link that. How about that?
Sure, why not?
Your blog.
It's still in.
Oh, James.
I wonder how our side chat people are doing today. I hope y'all had a great weekend. If y'all had anything happen that you want to share with us, just pop it out in the side chat, and we will celebrate with you or grieve with you, get pissed off at the world with you. Now, what was that thing at the beginning? What do you think that was designed to do, where he gave him some sort of graphene plaque?
What was that?
Right at the very beginning of the debate tour.
Oh, yeah.
Gifted Dave. Did I say James? Gifted Dave with like some sort of plaque or something made out of graphene or some sort of metal.
So,
no, I didn't see, I missed that part. I must have been getting a drink of water or something.
Right.
Totally missed it. Anyway,
the purpose of that was twofold, in my opinion. One, we're friends, ain't we, Dave? Please don't hurt me.
Oh, yeah.
And then two,
yeah.
Audience, you've seen this kind act, so now if he's brutal against me, he'll look that much worse.
Right,
and he walked over and shook his hand at the end, and I don't think Dave
did not return
actually
it. Or did he? If he didn't return it, he didn't linger on it.
It looked like he was ready to not shake his hand. So, because he was very clear about one thing: we are not friends. Anyway,
well, he has no respect for him, and I don't blame him.
Right. I got your blog up here. There's something else I got. Let's see. Okay, so Base Theory did a thing. I linked Deconverted Man. Did two things. I can't show that. That's that thing we're not supposed to show. Why do I keep showing that? Okay, Deconverted Man did part 1 and part 2, I believe. Part 1. Oh, they're both part 2. I don't know why I got 2 part 2s. But anyway, Deconverted Man did a thing on the James Stewart debate. And who else did? Mark Reed did too.
Oh, he did a review?
Yep. He did too.
You know,
Yeah.
my comment about the tone of the whole debate, which was shrill, is that I wonder what if Dave had come out and in very polite, gentlemanly debate tone made his points, made his refutations. I think he would still have been talked over a bunch, yelled at a bunch, and
would have never made a
would have
point.
never made a point. My question is, if you go in prepared to be that way, to be professional and polite and objective, and your interlocutor isn't that way at all, shouldn't you change your approach and even your tone to combat it in some way, rather than just pretend that it's a normal debate and just kind of go through the motions of an objective, polite debate and not be heard, because that's what would happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the best reaction to somebody who wants it to be a shit show should be, strategically.
Ooh, here's a treat. I got a treat. A treat from Captive Desk. He gives a treat.
That was kind of a question I hope we could mull over a little.
Oh.
What would be an effective strategy to somebody who wants to overtalk you, yell at you, make
well, I would
over-exaggerate.
I would keep going to the moderator and saying, moderator, are you moderating? Or is this going to be a shouting match? And if it turned out to be a shouting match, then I would do exactly what Farina did the whole time.
Yeah.
And point out every place where he's a liar and just get extremely, combative. What else can you do?
Yeah.
Well, there's one other option. You could say, okay, this is not the debate that I had prepared for. This is not a debate. This is interrupt-a-thon. I'm leaving. And you could do that. But if he did that, it would have been considered a loss, right? He would have been defeated. So I don't know. I think Dave knew exactly how it was going to go. He knew exactly who the moderator was, and he was prepared to do a combative debate, and he did a really good job of it. And I think he said a lot of things that needed to be said to James Tour, and he managed to get James Tour raging, which was really good.
Yeah,
because it just made Tour look bad.
Yeah, his hands were shaking at one point. Deconverted Man says, Mod was sleeping. Welcome, Deconverted Man. It's great to have you here. Mod was a weenie. Mod had no spine. Mod was an invertebrate. And he should not have been a mod. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to bring some guy from Florida, who teaches at Florida, but maybe he was having beers with James Tour or something. I don't know. And then
that whole audience was heavily stacked against Farina, and I don't understand how that happened.
Well,
Farina goes to church somewhere around there.
I don't know.
So he has people, in the Christian community rooting for him.
Yeah, I wonder how they sold the tickets for that. Because I'm pretty sure it was sold
free.
out.
Oh, no, wait a minute. No, it was free.
It was free. Okay, but you had to sign up, didn't you?
Probably. I know they were filled up when R.N. Ra got there, and he just sort of begged them to let him in.
Yeah. Yeah, so Logan says open by telling the audience exactly what the opponent will do and all the dirty tactics. And one of the dirty tactics you could tell in advance was that I'm going to be interrupted every time I try to drill down into one topic. And so he's never going to allow me to do that. The thing I hate about debates is they gallop over too many subjects and they don't never delve into, like, you should, the first time you have a disagreement, that's where you should stop and dig deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And then if you come to some sort of a consensus on that, then you can move on, otherwise not. This bullshit that, well, let's agree to disagree and move on to the next little gish gallop subject really pisses me off. And nothing ever gets done in these debates because of that. It just becomes whoever can put up the most papers or say the most clever things, you know. I don't know. It's just irritating. You want to hear what SJ has to say about it?
Now I'm curious. She's Catholic now, right?
She converted to Catholicism?
I think she did. Yeah. Now the Catholic Church accepts evolution as true. What's their stand on abiogenesis?
I don't know. I don't think they have one. So she was a creationist before? Or was she? I don't think she was ever a creationist. Was
remember, there still are Catholics who are creationists.
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
In the YEC sense.
Yeah. Want to listen to it?
Sure.
Why not?
J. Thomason. So one of the things that William Lane Craig has said is that he will not debate people who are not PhDs. And one of the reasons is because sometimes they don't understand the argument. Well, we can see how it plays out when people do debate people other than PhDs in their particular field. So Dr. James Tour debated Professor Dave Farina. Now, Dave Farina is not a professor. And apparently, I listened to another video that he made, a couple other videos. Apparently, he has a bachelor's degree, and then he attempted a master's degree twice, but dropped out in chemistry. And so he doesn't have a master's degree. Somehow he found himself in a university, and he was supposed to be teaching in a lab. And apparently the person who was teaching the main course in the lab couldn't teach for whatever reason. And he was asked to take on that position without the proper credentials for any accreditation. So I'm not sure why he was asked to take that on with a mere bachelor. James Tour is a synthetic organic chemist. He received his Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry from Syracuse University.
Okay. A synthetic organic chemist. Now, synthetic organic chemists, because the size of organic chemistry is the size of the cosmos. That's how complex it is. Most synthetic organic chemists work on like one particular small area of chemistry for most of their lives. And it doesn't say that you have any expertise in the field of abiogenesis. That is not, I mean, this is bullshit. This credential stuff, bullshit.
Or the,
in fact,
the field of biology.
PhD,
or evolutionary biology.
Right. And PhDs are more likely than anybody to be very tightly focused on a particular little field and not pay any attention to anything outside of it.
His PhD in synthetic, organic, and organico-metallic chemistry from Purdue University, and postdoctoral training in synthetic organic chemistry at the University of Wisconsin and Stanford University. Clearly, he's very well qualified to speak about chemistry. So the question is, what do we know about the origin of life? Dr. Tour said, we basically know nothing. We're clueless. We're beyond clueless. And one of the reasons that he said that is he said people have tried to recreate the origin of life, but they've also involve themselves in the process in somewhere, sort of monkeying around with everything, just showing us that there should be.
Very few people have tried to recreate the origin of life. We know full well that we're a long ways away from that possibility. I mean, it's like, in fact, I don't even think we're ever going to attempt it. So, I mean, these abiogenesis researchers are not trying to create a cell. That's not what they're doing.
Be a mind before the matter sort of idea. And so he also put a number of things that have not been looked into in the research. But when Professor Dave decided to address Dr. Tour, I saw a very, very terrible approach. In fact, it was probably the worst debate I've ever seen in my life as far as people acting civil. He was completely not civil. rather than talking about the topic itself, he brought out a few articles that he said did solve this problem of life and that we know a lot more about it than Dr. Tour says. And then he went on to accuse Dr. Tour of being a liar, a fraud. He said that his students are the ones who are really to credit for the academic articles, the 700 academic articles he's published. He called him all kinds of names to the point where when you read the comments on this particular video, especially going to Dr. Tour's channel, you're going to see that a lot of people, even atheists, say that they would not want to be an atheist if it involves associating with with Dave Farina because of his approach. It was terrible, really, really awful. And so here's one of my favorite parts. I'm going to review a couple of parts of the video. This part right here comes at the 27-minute mark. It follows when Dave Farina basically lambasted Dr. Tour, and Dr. Tour tries to explain in very simple ways chemistry and exactly what he is saying is missing from the literature. So we're going to review that. Now, before we do that, I will go ahead and point it out. I'm not a chemist. This is way outside my wheelhouse. I have a PhD in business, so that is obviously not chemistry. And so I will let Dr. Tour explain it in very easy terms to understand. So let's go.
We'll ask a question.
One of the things that we have to make in order to have life are polypeptides, where we take amino acids and these amino acids have to couple.
Blah, blah, blah.
And when they couple, it will form a dipeptide.
Now, just as I point out really quickly, so he's putting this up in terms that he's hoping the audience will understand. He's explaining it in a very easy way for people to understand.
No, he isn't.
And
no, he isn't. No, he isn't. He handpicked 2 amino acids that would have this cross chain problem, right? That you see that NH2 at the top on the second one, and the NH2 on the left right after the plus sign. That is the problem that he's talking about, right? So he handpicked the 2 amino acids that would have the biggest problem. Why didn't he show glycine or some of the other, I believe, 17 amino acids that would not do that, basically? So, no, he does. He on purpose put those 2 up and expected the audience to not get it, right? It's like, oh, I'm just showing you just 2 random amino acids, and I'm showing you the problem. He handpicked the 2 that would be a problem. And that is a little irritating. And she, bought it hook, line, and sinker because she doesn't know anything about the subject, as most people don't.
he's also,
She hasn't
if you
bothered
can notice,
to, I'm sorry, she hasn't bothered to watch the whole video series by James Tour and then Dave's replies, and where Dave pointed out where Tour was wrong in his reply, and then the experts that he got to comment on where James Tour was wrong. There's a lot of back and forth there, and also I'm not sure. I guess we'd have to ask Dave when he was aware that the title of the debate was going to be "Do we have a clue?" Or "Are we clueless?" And Aaron Ra was really correct in one of his shorts that he broadcast from the debate, that all you have to do is just kind of catalog things that we have learned about abiogenesis, origin of life related issues since, say, the Uri Geller experiment, the Miller-Urey, I don't know what the name of it is, but that famous experiment. And for instance, do we have a clue? Well, let's see. Life came from a combination, an explosion that fused together uranium and kryptonium together. No, it didn't. It probably couldn't. So there, we have a clue that it didn't happen that way. Boy, we do have a clue that it could have happened, through, amino acids, connecting with one another in some way. So there's no way that you can say we're clueless on the issue. I know that the title is an exaggeration, but the whole idea that we have learned nothing since then is preposterous. So even if they had gone with a straight debate, if they get it straight from the title, if that's the real, question up for grabs, then Tour loses from the get-go.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. I thought that
here. He's very calm.
Conversation.
And this is following completely being called a liar, being called a fraud, being called all kinds of terms by Professor Dave, who's not a professor. But anyway, here we go.
Oh, my God. We're going to watch him draw. He's drawing the simplest possible dipeptide. And he's picking 2 amino acids that would have a problem and would create a mixture. And he's finding one little problem, right? And Farina showed papers where they found all kinds of places where there was no problem, where it did end up with long chains of amino acids. And Tour is throwing up his hands and saying, oh, and he does this in all of his, 17 videos that he put out attacking for abiogenesis. It's like, oh, this is a problem, so that couldn't happen that way. It's like, okay, fine, couldn't happen that way, but there's about 100 other ways it could happen, and over and over and over again. And we're supposed to quit the field of research because James Tour found some simple chemistry that didn't work. Pissed me off.
This dipeptide is one of thousands and thousands and thousands that would have to form. If you were going to make a polypeptide, you'd need at least 100 of these for a very small polypeptide.
Not necessarily 100.
Mr. Farina, show me the prebiotic chemistry that would do this coupling. Be my guest.
I showed it to you before. That RNA attaching to another RNA, which would be the messenger RNA, that is some chemistry that would do that coupling between glutamic acid and lysine. And we'd have to find another paper. Oh, and I think I have about 10 papers on that particular reaction. So,
okay. Yeah, I don't need the board.
Ooh.
So this was my second prompt. So I guess we'll circle back to this. But yeah, you keep going. Show me the references in your content. But so you're missing a mountain of research, literally a mountain of research that demonstrates this. So here's one.
Pause for a second.
Of peptides in aqueous solution. So we've got.
Notice the level and tone of Dave Farina's voice.
Yeah.
He's not shrill. He's not shrouding. He's saying you've missed this, you've missed that. That's what you're supposed to do during the debate. So when you are criticizing Dave for his approach, and you have room to criticize him, if you're grading him like with some sort of formal debate rules, then yeah, you've got much to criticize him for. But he wasn't constantly shouting or shrieking or throwing insults.
No. He was very calm during most of it.
In fact, he kept himself calm. He took self-calming measures, through the way he was standing and things like that. Proceed.
Sulfur 4, oxidative mono. Carbonyl sulfide mediated prebiotic formation of peptides. Here's another one.
That does not do it. And the two you showed.
Now, who just interrupted? Who just interrupted a person who was even-headedly, calmly, coolly explaining his position?
And he looks like a mad pointer dog.
Yeah.
There. Yeah. It's like, because you can't show him that one thing there. That's,
This is called
James.
disparaging. DK. They do not do it with these.
Okay, so what is Lehman's a fraud? Gadiri's a fraud? Are you calling them fraud? They published a paper, carbonyl sulfide mediated prebiotic formation of peptides. So if you're saying they didn't do that,
show me the example in there. I studied this. I looked over every paper you put up.
Have never studied anything in this area. Are you kidding me? All you do is go, show me the papers, and then I.
See, can you imagine this? This person. So you've got Dr. Tour. He's going to point out that sometimes the titles in the articles don't exactly show exactly what people proved in the articles. This does happen in academia. Sometimes people's titles and their abstracts might be a little bit misleading. And so it might appear from the title in the abstract, which truly appear to be the only parts that Dave Farina has read.
Whoa!
That
is the problem.
Why are we listening to this person?
I don't know.
Because you know he's read the shit because he has outlined it and quoted it to us.
You show.
Can you read the author, the first author on that paper? Carbonyl sulfide modified. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. Is that meso? No. Let's see. Which one is that? Life itself. I'm trying to find the paper. Rosen Tinkers. Oh no, I can't find it. I can't find it. Damn. If I had the first author, but I can't read it from that. I cannot read it. Too bad. Let's see. I'm pretty sure I have the paper pretty handy here. Where? Baird, Origin of Life. Okay. Don't know. Let's see. Nope, that ain't it. Oh my goodness. I don't want to put that shit up there. Good thing I didn't show that on the screen.
Yeah.
Credit card information and would have had to take the fucking stream down. Carbonyl sulfide mediated. Okay. Yes. Where are we? Okay, this paper. And I think I got a preprint down here. Let's see. Mediated for almost all the discussions of prebiotic chemistry assume that amino acids, nucleotides, and possibly other monomers were first formed on the Earth or brought to it from comments, blah, blah, blah. However, attempts to demonstrate plausibility of prebiotic polymerization reactions have met with limited success. That's what the abstract says. We show that carbonyl sulfide, a simple volcanic gas, brings about the formation of peptides from amino acids under mild conditions in an aqueous solution, depending on the reaction, the conditions and additives used, exposure of alpha amino acids to COS-generated peptides, carbonyl sulfide, in yields of up to 80% in minutes to hours at room temperature. Now, they say that in the abstract, and if they were telling a fib in the abstract, this paper would be rejected because they're claiming, here's what we have shown, right? So what is she talking about? Has she read the fucking abstract? Has she read the paper? Because that's what they're showing, 80% yields.
No, she hasn't read it. She wouldn't understand it even if she read it. She's just giving a cultural narrative to score points for team fundamentalists. That's all she's doing.
Right. And they showed their methods and everything, and this is what in the paper got published. So blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Anyway. Okay.
I'll just give credit to the majority of Christians who recognize that, abiogenesis is still possible within a universe created by a God. You could still have both. You don't really have to choose between the two ideas.
No.
You never have to choose between God and evolutionary theory or a biogenesis theory or origins of life theory.
Well, they point to that biblical passage that says the evidence of God is in the trees, right? Look at the trees. It's in nature around you, right? Okay. So what does science do? Science looks at how God did it. God did it with carbon chemistry. God did it with, the Big Bang. God did it with the natural things that you find in science around you. That's all Christians have to accept. There's absolutely no contradiction with that and their biblical understanding. They do not have to have science find a way that it couldn't happen naturally, right? Because God supposedly created nature. And if God created nature and nature does things, then they can say that's God doing it with nature. What in the fuck is the problem? Why are they doing this? Why do they have to have this scientific proof that it couldn't have happened by just molecules bumping into each other? Well, God made the molecules. Why the fuck not?
These are the same assholes that would have been arguing against germ theory before we could see germs under a microscope.
Right.
Because clearly disease is caused by demons and the forces of good and evil battling, right? And this is the same kind of thing. We don't know. We don't. Our tools and our understandings are insufficient to fully explain it. Therefore, magic, right? That's what she's arguing. That's what Tour is arguing. Therefore, magic.
Look at the plants. What do we got here? Yeah, look at the plants. So we got a link. We got a link from one of our good friends in Captain Desk.
All right, the season is in full swing.
There we are. Look at the plants.
Got the plants out. Things filling in nicely.
Suddenly I have to piss.
Wait, can you click on that to make it bigger for everybody?
Oh, yeah. I can.
Things starting to grow in nicely. I'm even trimming stuff back already. Plants.
See God in there? Oh, there's Nessie.
There's a Buddha.
Nessie and Buddha.
Where's Buddha?
The Bigfoot.
I'm glad Buddha and Bigfoot get along.
My water hyacinths in the mail the other day.
Oh, this is some good tripping material.
And I got water lettuce and some other assorted ones in that one. As they get a little bigger, they'll spread all over the
Hey,
place.
Speed, pause it for a second.
Okay.
Come on. Well,
Yeah,
it went past the skull. Did you notice that skull down there at the bottom of the screen?
No.
Notice how the top of the head is cut out.
Oh, yeah.
Top of the skull.
Where's the skull? Yeah, I got a message in front of it. Let's see. Yeah, there's a skull down there, and it's open. Is that proof of our ape-like ancestors? Is that a fossil?
No, but have you ever seen a cross section of the top of a skull where a lot of the brain has been removed, but you just see like the nerves and stuff coming out from the eye sockets?
Ooh.
And everything. If not, I'll send you.
Yeah, on most of the movies that you asked me to watch on Netflix, I see shit like that. Yeah.
No. But they do make good movies that way. But no, the that anatomy channel that I'm always telling you about has a really cool cutout of a skull. The eyeballs are still in it, and you can see the nerves, optic nerves, coming back into the center part of the brain around the what do they call the section that deals with vision?
Optic nerve.
Well, the optic nerve is going into whatever section of the brain that deals with that, and it's really cool to see. And I just wondered if you've ever seen it from that perspective before.
Oh, yeah, I probably have somewhere. I
Okay.
think. Yeah, I've got a skull in there on my refrigerator with a brain sitting in it.
I'll post the link. I will find it real quick and post the
Okay.
link, because that's a really great channel that people really ought to watch if they haven't had a lot of 3D looking kind of anatomy.
I have to clear something up here. I just said I have a skull on my refrigerator with a brain in it. Okay, it's not a real one; it's a model. I just want to point that out.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want the police busting my door down. Okay.
You don't want to get swatted.
No, don't want to get swatted. Beautiful picture, Dave. Wonderful.
I know that seems like a very peaceful place.
Yeah, it looks like a peaceful place. I would like to go there. on some of my Sunday journeys. I go on journeys once in a while. And that is a place I would like to go. Anyway, James, did you want to take another shot at your blog? Oh, he stepped away again. So yeah, let's ask him all kinds of questions because he's gone again.
James, what do you think about the latest political situation?
The Vikings.
Yeah, the football team or the social group from Norway.
It's a social group from Norway that killed a bunch of people. Yeah,
they were very intense.
Is there a football team named the Vikings?
So I've heard. Are they from somewhere around you, or did they disband?
I don't know. I'm not sure. They could be. Yeah, we're up north, so Vikings would be up north. That's
way up north.
Yeah, it's cooler. Yeah. Yep.
James, have you ever been to Alaska?
James is missing. He's missing. He's snuck away. What a. We gotta check on him more often because he keeps doing that. Let's read his blog. Well, he's gone, and we'll criticize it. How about that?
Yeah, we'll just talk about him behind his back.
Yeah. This is Mike Jones untruthing again to promote his ironically anti-science mafia grift. What the hell? Mike Jones does this anti-science bullshit?
There's a mafia anti-science grift?
Yeah, that's it.
This is a nice Smithsonian you have. I'd hate for something bad to happen to it.
Yeah. But
I don't get it.
Said that he revised this and he wanted another go at it, and I thought maybe we'd do that. In the meantime, we could do this. Oh my God, there's that guy again. There's that guy. Oh, that deconverted man who did 2 very good videos. Neil deGrasse Tyson's religious view on religious belief. You want to listen to that for a minute?
Sure.
Okay. Why not? Let's give it a chroma and we'll play it.
I have a question about the fossil record. When people, non-believers, try to attack the dating system they use for fossils and whatnot, carbon dating and whatnot, is there any validity to that argument?
So these are when you say non-believers, people who like to reject science in favor of their religious philosophies. Right.
Yes.
So these are people who are apparently require data to support their faith. I find that odd, right? Because then it's not faith, right? I mean, if you have religious faith, then whatever anyone says about the world wouldn't matter to you. If it does matter to you, then that's a different kind of contract that you're taking out on information. And that contract is there could be data out there that would conflict with your religious philosophy,
right.
And then you'd have to go along with it. But that's not what actually happens. There's a pretense that data matters, and then they filter it, reinterpret it, ignore parts of it, slice and dice it so that it all fits in to the religious philosophy. So it requires blinders in order to make that happen. So with the radioactive dating, which we use with many different elements, carbon is good. Carbon-14, we've all heard about that, is good for periods of time that go back thousands, tens of thousands of years, basically into the Ice Age. We can carbon date, frozen cavemen and mastodons coming out of glaciers. Then we have other elements used that are radioactive and they decay. Lead is used to date the age of the Earth. That has a half-life of billions. I forgot the exact billion plus years, whereas carbon-14 is in the thousands of years. So you pick the one that suits the time interval you're interested in, and then you can date those. That's how we date meteorites, for example. Yeah. The people who are in denial of this simply it exhibits a failure in their educational system. That's what it is.
No validity to it.
Of course not.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay. What he was saying there is that these people are looking for scientific proof of God. And that's kind of what James Tour was into. It's like, I got to prove that abiogenesis couldn't have happened. Not just that we were clueless, but that it couldn't have happened, because then that will prove my God to me, because I can't believe in my God unless you prove it to me with science, right? Which kind of runs counter to most of what you hear in Christianity, I think. So,
Yeah.
But
I mean, I understand why they play that game, but yeah, it's
but why do they need to play that game? Why don't they just have faith in their Bible, faith in God, the way they believe it, and they don't know exactly how God did it. They don't know whether God used natural means to create the earth and humans and whatever.
Mhm.
And they're just going to remain agnostic about that because it doesn't tell you exactly how it happened in the Bible. They do not give you the chemistry in the Bible for obvious reasons. Why do they need that?
Right. Well, I mean, it's a desperate ploy to win their culture war. They could take the position that we're not sure if our God used abiogenesis or not. We're not sure if our God used evolution or not. Some of us claim to know, some of us claim to not know. That's the safer position, because then they're not taking a position that's vulnerable to disproof. However, they're desperate to win this culture war, and the idea is to delegitimize the frontier of science itself, to get their children and other people's children to be so skeptical, so untrusting of science as a methodology and as a frontier, that they look more towards spiritual answers for their answers, right? Because the more you can explain everything happening in the world, the less you need God magic to explain anything. And they want you to be as reliant on the God magic proposition as possible, because that's what's going to help keep people in the short term supporting their cause more. If they can get people to doubt science as a frontier, it's going to backfire, because more and more young people, it already is backfiring. It's part of why they're losing so many people. So they've hedged their bets. They've chosen their gambit, and it's going to bite them in the ass more and more, because more and more people are coming to an understanding of the biological sciences and evolution, and they're saying, well, obviously the church has lied to me about this. And more people are going to realize that abiogenesis is a legitimate field of inquiry, and eventually we're going to have those answers solved. We're going to know how it happened, and that's just going to be, if Christianity exists at all by then it's just going to hurt it even more to be further disproved.
We had some babies born. Bree had babies.
Well, congratulations, Bree.
Yeah, congrats. Where was I? Where was I? I was over there. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, they should be concentrating on a different part of their faith in Christianity and a different part of the message, like Christianity has done for ages, right? Like they did when I was growing up and I went to church. They didn't say, "Oh, radioactive dating is wrong," and all of this bullshit. None of that stuff, right? It was about the religion itself that they were talking about. And I don't know why these people think that they're going to get away with this.
Well, they've been.
They have with a lot of people, I guess.
Oh yeah, and as I was being indoctrinated in Christianity early on, this was back in the 70s. The pulpits didn't really talk about creationism much, but it was definitely popular among the faithful, so to speak. In other words, they were passing cassette tapes of preachers who were preaching about it and things like that. So it began as a, I won't say underground movement, but the people who would talk about it did get enthusiastic about it and tell their friends and give tapes out and things like that. So it was just almost like a conspiracy theory, the way those things take off.
Yeah, this is what you were showing, Scott, or you were talking about with the chiasm or chiasma or whatever. And then it goes from here, it crosses over to the back of your brain. It actually crosses over, so the left side of your brain is seeing the right side of your field of vision, and it goes out here to the back of the skull, down on the bottom, which is where your primary visual cortex is, and that's where you get those migraine, scotoma, twinkly things, right? That I've been getting recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's very fascinating. I love the little bits, like they've shown clips of people with knee problems like I've had, or with hip issues. They'll show you where your hamstrings are and pull it back and show you the sciatic nerve, which is, I know, the bane of existence for a lot of people.
Yeah, does that look like a machine in there, or does that look like a organism? Don't look like a machine to me.
Looks like fishing bait.
Yeah. Looks like some shit you'd scrape out the bottom of your shit.
Yeah, not a machine. Not a machine.
One other question here I wanted to look at, and then James, if you, unless you walk away again like you just did.
Are you still here? Okay, good. He's here.
Yeah. We got to check on him every 3 minutes now from now on. Okay.
Sure.
Keep slipping away.
Under close observation.
I think this is it. What?
What?
Unbelief 2006 lecture. You said that.
Were you there, or did you watch the YouTube?
I watched the YouTube.
Okay.
You said that what stopped Middle Eastern scientific progress was a theological takeover.
Yes.
Do you think that's happening?
That's a shorthand for what I said, but yeah, I built the case a little more elegantly than that.
It was much nicer. Yes. Do you think that's happening here in light of what's happening with like scientific textbooks in Texas and things like that?
Yeah, I just read recently about the plight of textbooks in Texas. I spent some time in Texas, 6 years actually, and of course Texas has Johnson Space Center. These are the folks who track everything we put in orbit with humans on it after it passes the launch tower in
the launch window.
Canaveral. The man goes over to Houston. So Texas is a fundamental part of our space enterprise, culturally and historically. So for them to now have textbooks where the science content is altered to be different from what is going on in mainstream science worries me greatly. What you're referring to in the talk that I gave at that lecture is in San Diego, 2006. It referenced what was going on 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago, the intellectual center of the world was Baghdad. Baghdad. Europe was busy disemboweling heretics at the time. Baghdad was open to all thought at the time, between AD 800 and 1100, around there. If you look at the advances that unfolded in that period, in that location, it includes the invention of algebra. Algebra is an Arabic word. Algorithm is an Arabic word. 2/3 of the stars in the night sky that have names have Arabic names. How does that happen? Where did the naming rights come from? It came from the fact that at that time, huge advances in the Middle East, in Baghdad in particular, was unfolded in engineering, mathematics, especially mathematics, astronomy, navigation, physiology. And you say, well, why is that so? If you look at what was going on, they were open to all lines of thought. Jews, Muslims, Christians. There were doubters back then. Today, we would call them atheists. They would all come around a table and share ideas. If you have some philosophy that's got holes in it, someone's going to find it. And you're going to challenge you on those ideas. And what happens is the conversation ratchets up. You discard what doesn't work and you keep what does. And when you do that, you make discoveries, and you make discoveries rapidly. And at the time, that period drew to a close. If you read history books, they'll typically describe sort of the sacking of Baghdad. It was a bad time for the city. And they say, oh, it all came to an end. However, the Islamic culture rose at other times later. And in those other times, science and engineering discoveries were not a part of it. So he asked, why not? You got the cultural heritage. Why doesn't it show up again? And then you got to dig a little deeper from the sacking of Baghdad, and you find out there was a Muslim cleric, Al-Ghazali was his name, who was to Islam what St. Augustine was to Christianity. St. Augustine kind of laid out the rules for how to be a good Christian at the time. A lot of people were practicing it in their own way. He codified it. He was a religious scholar, figured it out according to his own read, told everybody how to behave. There's the book. You follow this, you're a good Christian. Al-Ghazali said, you follow this, you're a good Muslim. In that text included the assertion, which gained influence socially, but then politically, so then it had power of influence. In there was the assertion that mathematics and the manipulation of numbers was the work of the devil. The entire enterprise collapsed and never recovered. It has not recovered since. If you look at the number of Muslims who have won the Nobel Prize in the sciences, it's 1. Number of Jews who have won the Nobel Prize, 1/4 of all Nobel Prizes in science have been won by Jews. How many Muslims in the world? 1.3 billion. How many Jews in the world? 15 million tops. So you look at what effect the culture of discovery and learning can have on what you discover about the natural world. It's extraordinary.
Isn't that incredible? That is pretty good. You can see why Neil deGrasse Tyson gets sold out every time he books a tour.
Oh yeah, he's funny, engaging. He knows how to tell a story.
Yeah,
That's
pretty good. Yep. Neat. You want to comment on your blog?
Oh, so I updated it today, and I like it lots better than I liked it yesterday. The problem with making it better is that then I make it longer. The longer it is, the fewer the people are going to bother to read it through, which is why I do streams where I read them. Now, even though yesterday's stream did help me shake loose some ideas and refine my thoughts on the matter, I kind of do want to do another stream where I just read what I've got now and play some clips from the videos that I include, because I'd like to be able to make that part of this blog. Because at the beginning of the blog, I went back and I put in a link to my YouTube discussion of the blog and of Mike Jones's clip. And I like that I've got that there, but I wouldn't mind a more polished version of it there. So, and especially since the blog has been improved since then. So I might go back and I might do another stream to where I mostly just read it, right? And then I have discussions.
Oh, and you have mention of what he was just talking about right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta do my chromo. So you actually mentioned, deGrasse Tyson. A couple of them.
Yep.
Couple of clips. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and do that, right, for us?
Yeah, I think that I am. I'm a little bit congested today.
Yeah.
My voice isn't optimal, so I could wait till tomorrow, but I'm tempted to just rush in and do it, just to read it. See how it goes. Oh, I cited examples with pictures and quotes, and I like it so much better now. I really need to write a book. As much as I spend writing about these issues,
right?
I really just need to write a book. Even if it doesn't sell.
Humping rhinos. Humping
rhinos.
Please, children. Oh my God. Oh no.
That's kind of a commentary, isn't it? We used to have people paid to draw cartoons and then label them and make comments like that. But now you just need a well-made photoshopped photo or image and then some labels.
Oh my God. Oh,
everybody can do their own social and political commentary.
The Southern Baptist. Oh, you really get into some stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is quite long.
Yeah, it is.
Wow, it keeps going and going. I linked this in my description for anybody who wants to go read this. And
yeah, I think I need to look at some of those memes.
Oh my goodness. Okay. We got comments down here. People comment. You can comment on it.
They can comment. Hardly anyone ever does, but you can.
I could comment.
You could comment.
I remember when that's the main way people communicated. It was through commenting on blogs.
Yeah. Now that I know that I can comment, I mean, like when I can't get a hold of you, it's like, where the fuck are you? Anyway,
Right.
yeah, commenting on things is something I don't do a lot of. Probably should do more of. I don't know.
Fair.
Anyway, what else we want to talk about today, boys and girls?
So yeah, the whole Neil deGrasse Tyson thing you just played reminded me that part of the reason why they're sowing distrust in science is they see it as a domain to be conquered
Yeah.
because they want to wield political power over it. They want to use it for their own power structure. And so just like they look at a political system and say, "Hey, look, hey you, the people of this nation, you can either let these evil heathens guide you, or you can let these pious, divinely appointed Christians guide this endeavor. Which would you rather have?" So they go at governments that way, try to frame the narrative that way, and they're doing it also with the domain of science. And so they've sown so much misinformation and distrust of non-biblically guided science that here you've got entire school systems in Texas, for example, where their textbooks and in Florida, right? Their textbooks are heavily edited to favor a particular cultural narrative, not just about religious issues and science issues, but public relations and ethnic issues from the past, right? Like slavery and civil rights and things like that. They're editing textbooks. They're trying to take control of the narrative of the stories in order to lend undue merit to their religious story because they just want to control the way everybody thinks and talks about the issues. So this is just part of a larger systemic effort to leverage authority over the way that people think and the way that people live their lives.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say something. Damn it. And I lost it.
I'm sure it was going to be awesome too.
Oh,
yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene would lead the charge in the sacking of Baghdad and basically usher in the new era of Christians get to make laws, run the government,
She would.
and do the textbooks, right?
She'd
Because
probably
that would-
admit it too if you asked her.
Yeah, she would say it out loud, and that would
Yeah.
give them all the power that they wanted, and they do want
Right.
power. So,
Right. And that has always been bad for a society throughout human history, but we're supposed to pretend that it's good for society now? It's crazy.
yeah. So I also wanted to mention that I interviewed or had a talk with Dr. Daniel J. Nicholson on Friday, and nobody's looked at the video. It's got 60 views. I thought it was a pretty good talk.
Yeah, it was a great talk.
Got into a lot of different things, and hopefully going to have more discussions with him. And he got me onto a whole new field or segment of biology, having to do with category theory and some books that he recommended, which I linked in my description of that video. And I linked this video in the description of this here video right now. So a Vinda loop. It goes around and around. You go round and around and watch Answers in Atheism. So anyway, somebody watch my goddamn talk with Daniel Nicholson. Damn it.
Mhm.
Son of a bitch. Fucking
Damn it, son of a-
I'll have you know, I watched it.
Oh, I know. Scott watched it. You were the one viewer that I had. So,
Yes, I was. And I was enthusiastic because I like Daniel.
yeah, he's really, really fun to talk to. And he's just very charged all the time and just interested in. And he disagreed with me on a number of things, which I'm going to take him to task on. I had a fight with my professor yesterday, too, about reality and empiricism. The same fight. Exactly.
I've been having the same fight for years.
Yeah, and I've been involved in the same fight for years. That's the way I roll. Also, I want to mention that, let's see here. What do we got? Raging Atheist. I think he might be live now. He's got a thing going. Answers in Atheism, 3 Old Men Ranting. The Damage Report. It's about Trump. Deconverted Man, Ad Hominem, A Common Error We Make, released a video 2 hours ago. And he did not mention that, I don't think, or did he? And let's see. I've got something from Maya Atkinson here, an update. Oh, that must be Facebook. Oh, that was on Facebook. Okay. Maya Atkinson posted something on Facebook. That's hot off my phone. So, hot off my phone. Anyway, I'm ready to quit.
Fair.
I feel like quitting. You got
Now,
anything?
that doesn't mean you have to like dive away as soon as we hit end stream. James Crapperson. When James Apperson was here, I think I told him that already, but I just want to make sure James Crapperson doesn't just like disappear as soon as we hit the end button.
Right.
Mm.
Yep.
Fair.
So should we hit the end button?
We should.
I think we're going to hit the end button, folks. Thank you for being here. Your feedback and your conversations are just really important. They make up 97% of the value of this enterprise that we call Answers in Atheism.
Oh, come on, Scott. Give me some credit. 96% is all they make up.
Okay. Well, I'll bring it down to 85% even.
Yeah,
Still significant number.
96.
I'm just saying you guys are important to this channel, and we value each and every one of you.
Ooh,
Yes,
so
we
Bree wrote a poem. Nitty, nitty, can't you see? Sometimes your mix will just hypnotize me.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
from a song.
breaking out as a poet. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that is. I see a future in literary enterprise for Bree.
Yep. And
Like maybe haikus on plants, or I'm sorry, on insects who eat their mates. That would be great.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. A very biggie future.
I was going to open the stream up, but I should open it up. We should start a stream and open it up to everybody out in chat before I get tired. But I'm tired now. I'm so tired.
We'll have to like put that on the whiteboard and have a meeting.
I saw the most amazing YouTube video that I got to tell you about, right? It was an Australian police chief defending the fact that his senior officer tasered a 95-year-old woman who was famous in Australia for skydiving when she was on her 80th birthday. So she was in the news before, but she got tasered, fell, and hit her head, and she's in critical condition. And he was explaining to everybody that, well, the officers were called to the scene, saying that she had a knife, and she did indeed have a knife. She was armed. She had a serrated steak knife, which she had gotten in the kitchen, and she was at the old folks' home. And she did approach and attack the officers with the knife. And to be fair, it was a very slow attack because she was in a walker, because she had a walker and a knife, and she was 95, and they tasered her.
Who the fuck would taser an old woman in a walker and a knife?
With a fucking steak knife, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so they're in a little bit of hot water over in Australia. Ian probably heard about that one, but that's really a wonderful story from down under. Yeah.
You mean people in Australia are crazy too?
Yeah.
We've been spreading our crazy to them, I think.
I think that's a lot. I just wonder. I wish somebody would do some sort of presentation about officer training videos from like the 60s to the up till now or something, and note what are the changes in the kind of training, if any, that officers receive about encountering the public and escalation and de-escalation of
right. And
violence.
She had dementia, right?
Yeah.
She had dementia, and that's how you handle a person with dementia. Well, to be fair, in the United States, they would have shot her 20 times, right?
Yeah.
5 officers would have opened up on her and shot her 20
Here they would have. Well, if she was black, here they would have.
Yeah, definitely. If she was black, 40 times if she was black. 20.
This person was at a care facility at the time, or was she out in public?
No, a nursing home. She was in her room in a nursing home, in her room with a knife.
I thought staff were supposed to do interventions like that.
Right. Yeah, they should have. I mean, it would, she was probably seemed like she had lost it, so they were a little bit afraid of her. But anyway, she was less harmless than your average house cat.
Yeah.
What you do when your house cat gets all clawy and toothy is you get a pair of gloves and you go you go and grab them, right? So they could have got a pair of gloves and taken the knife away from her very easily. I mean, she was attacking him in a walker, for fuck's sake.
They could have done it without gloves.
Oh, it was just so awesome to hear that. I'm going to link that in my description. I got to be able to find it here.
Hell, wait 5 minutes. She'll forget why she's there.
Right. It's just amazing. Let's see. I wonder if I should play it.
Good evening, everyone.
Whoop, that's not it.
Yeah. Wow.
That ain't it.
Who knew that dementia patients could project so well?
Right.
Okay, here we go. Okay. This is her. I got to show you this. This is just, I mean, it's sad that it's funny, actually, but it is. But fuck, I mean, I don't know what to think of this. Anyway, okay, this is her. "15 years later, this woman will be tased in a nursing home by a police officer."
Can you give her a lift up? Yep.
She can barely get up. 15 years ago.
Dang.
She's 5'2", in possession of a knife, and
at the time she was in a room. She did have a knife in her hand, and it is fair to say that she was armed with that knife.
You can tell this guy's having a bad day.
I know. I was thinking the same exact thing. I thought, man, that guy does not want to be there.
The knife in question is a steak knife, a serrated edge knife that she had obtained from the kitchen area of the nursing home a couple of hours earlier.
Oh my God, what a crime.
Negotiations commenced with Claire to essentially drop the knife. For whatever reasons, Claire did not do that. One of the police officers who responded, a senior constable, activated his taser, which struck Claire, whereby she fell to the ground, striking her head. At the time she was tasered, she was approaching police. But it is fair to say at a slow pace. She had a walking frame, but she had a knife.
Oh my God.
In a walker with a knife, and she was approaching the police. She was attacking the police, clearly attacking the police in her walker. For fuck's sake, this guy has a lot of splaining to do. He goes on to say, I don't know what was in everybody's mind at the time, but we're certainly going to look into this incident.
Well, isn't the one of the main things that when you're suffering from dementia, your part of your brain just dies and you lose a lot of your frontal lobe capability and things like that. So yeah, you are going to react aggressively. That's why you're in a special care facility.
Right. And the wise thing to do would be to leave her alone for a few minutes, and she'd probably forget that she had the knife and drop it and go to sleep and take a nap. And then you go in there and give her, some medication and put the knife back in the kitchen.
Yeah. There are restraining techniques. You do have to worry about the knife. You don't want employees getting cut, but you can wear special padded, I don't know if they have this, in stock at most care facilities, but big puffy protective gear just to avoid being injured or lessen the likelihood of being injured with the knife while you carefully restrain the patient. This is a patient whose family is counting on this institution to care for this person who they know can be violent, because that's what dementia does to the brain.
Right. If you have a loved one in trouble in a mental crisis, we are afraid to call the cops these days.
Yeah. I don't know who you would call.
Yeah, I don't know.
To make them not dead in an hour or two, you know.
Yeah, there's a good chance the cops, at least in America, will make the situation worse.
Yeah, they'll fucking change the volume of the incident into a confrontation in seconds. Now in Richfield, Minnesota, here, which is just south of Minneapolis, they have a program where they're teaching their police to de-escalate situations by talking in a calm voice, asking questions of mentally handicapped people until they calm them down. And they have I don't know, I have not heard of any cases of Richfield officers being involved in any bad incidents since they started that program. But that's one city in Minnesota, right, out of thousands that has started that program. But we need it everywhere. You know, we need to
we do.
it out.
Anyway,
All right,
I better get out of here.
Yeah, on that note. Okay, James, hang around for a few minutes. We're going to end the stream.
Alrighty. I've got to go pee real quick, but I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Goodbye.
Run that captive desk video of the garden with all that running water
before I go.
Yeah, bastards.
Yeah, okay. No. Okay, we're leaving. Goodbye, cruel world.